How's it going, people? It's been a little while, hasn't it? I'm going to try a little Category 5 hurricane. This is high gravity malt liquor. And it seems appropriate that I have a high gravity beverage for this video because I'm dealing with a very heavy subject. Near-death experiences. Yes, I'm on that kick still. Found another video on YouTube, and it's originally, I believe, from the biography channel, but I'll put a link to the YouTube channel where I found it. And I'm going to be pausing this along the way, share it with you, but I'm going to have to stop it from time to time and analyze, because I have many questions. I mean, it's from the biography channel, but it's not exactly biographical. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of omissions of information, and it's highly specious. So let's get this started, and I'll be breaking in from time to time to clarify and to objectify and to just plain object and raise questions. Yeah, we got to start off with Bible verses, don't we? And it wouldn't be proper without John 3:16. That's a favorite of theirs. So anyway, I'll let you read these. They might be of service to you. I don't know if they were in the original documentary or if the YouTuber put those on. But we're about to get started now.
His eyes were deep yellow with a haze around the center. Seeing Satan face to face, I knew I was dead and I was going to hell.
Scary. Yeah, this guy calls himself Messiah. And Detroit, Michigan, March 2003. I'm assuming that's when
I had just moved to Michigan home. I had been going back and forth from Minnesota to Detroit. Just refamiliarizing myself with the landscape and my friends, my family there. At the time, coming back, people were beginning to notice that I had grown up a lot.
Okay, here's something right away that jumps out at me. First of all, he doesn't seem to be very forthcoming on information. He says that he had just been in Michigan for a while, but he's from Minnesota. But then he goes back to Minnesota. Unclear why. But everyone's noticing how much he's grown up, how mature he is, and how his beliefs have changed. By the way, they call him Messiah. All right, let's just move on a little bit. He'll give us a tiny bit more information, I'm sure.
My beliefs had changed, but I was still the same core, hardworking person.
He was a hardworking person. We don't know what he was working at, what he was doing then, and what he was doing at this time, and if it's something different. But we could tell that he was a real hustler.
I was still dating, but my primary interest was still my baby's mom, who still lived in Minnesota. We had a child together, Isaiah, my youngest son.
Okay, right away I've got a problem with this guy. He's got a child with a woman in Minnesota, but he's still dating right now, free as a bird while she's raising his kid. But she is his primary interest. Yeah, and the child's name is Isaiah. So they don't sound very religious to me. I'm kidding.
Messiah came to Minnesota to visit Isaiah and myself, but also to see, he still had 2 brothers living in Minnesota, so to also see his brother. And his mom was coming this trip.
So they're multitasking. So he's going to see his child and his baby mama, but he's going to also arrange it where it's a mini family reunion as well. Okay. So he's up from Detroit, I believe he said. Not a lot of information, is there? You know, they could have given us a little more information, don't you think?
It was almost summertime. It was almost like spring break, pretty much. So the kids were out. It was an opportunity to all get together. And we were staying at a hotel, and there was a pool there.
Okay. He's staying at a hotel. Samika, his baby mama, drops Isaiah off to spend some quality time with Dad. It's probably been a while. And then she goes home. Why is he at a hotel and she at home? And where is home? What's her situation? Could she possibly be living with her folks? Or in some kind of diminished circumstances? Just guessing. But if Samika is living with her parents, maybe they don't care much for this Messiah guy. So, I mean, all I can do is speculate because there's really no information provided. You just give you little clues by accident now and then. You can really trust these people. Funny though, I don't.
Samika dropped me off and was telling me, don't go swimming. You know how to swim.
You don't know how to swim and you're from Minnesota? I'm a provincial California boy, but I got friends and family in Minnesota, and I do visit a lot. I have yet to meet anyone from Minnesota who can't swim, or who would at least admit it and laugh about it. Besides, what's up with that humorless chuckle of messiahs? Sounds like a liar's laugh to me. I guess I'm just a rotten skeptic, sorry. I'm just not buying his story. Seems a little fishy, even for Minnesota.
And I was assuring her that I wasn't going to go swimming, but I would take the kids down so that they could swim in the shallow end of the pool. I just knew my limits. I understood that it's like I can't fly, I can't swim.
He can't fly and he can't swim. You can at least learn how to swim, dickhead. And what good is he? He's going to watch the kids swim in the shallow end, but what if something goes wrong? He can't fucking swim. What good is that? And is that really true? It seems like it's necessary for the story, at least.
There was like 7, 8, 9 kids, and I figured that was too many kids for, him to handle it. So I told him, hold on real quick, I'm gonna run upstairs, I'm gonna grab some shorts and come back down and help you with the kids.
He's got to go grab some shorts. There's like 9 kids. They're all nephews and nieces. And of course, Isaiah. He's got 3 brothers and apparently, 9 kids altogether. I guess they make lots of money and have good health insurance and, have all you can afford.
They're all down playing, and my niece, Kiera, was trying to either jump off the edge or was kind of running and sliding. Looked very dangerous. Immediately trying to get to her aid because I feared she would fall in the pool. She slipped somehow and just caught herself onto the ladder. And I remember trying to get to her. She seemed like she was going to be okay, but that was the last thing that I really remember.
She seemed like she was going to be okay, and so his dumbass goes falling into the pool trying to save her.
first thing I remember was these huge bubbles. It's like it being in a water cooler. I mean, bigger than my face type bubbles. And it wasn't just like one or two. It's like bubble after bubble after bubble appearing and then floating away from me.
Because you're drowning. I've almost
After
done that.
I would kind of black out, if you will.
If I will. Everybody's so sharp in his family. They're all staring like, is he playing?
I'm coming through the door, and I can see all the kids from across the room standing along the pool, and they're just looking out into the pool, and I don't see my brother, so, I'm asking them, where's my side, and they all get to pointing down in the pool. I'm walking up to the pool, I look down the pool, and I seen him at the bottom. He was looking up at me. At first, he was looking up, and I'm thinking, well, why is he holding his breath? Is he playing? Is he dying? What is he doing?
Is he dying?
He was still looking up at me, so then I got to getting serious.
Oh, he's getting serious now.
Thinking something was really, really wrong.
Leonard is unable to swim either. They're both from Minnesota.
We grabbed the pole, and we couldn't get him, so I just get to screaming, help, help, because somebody help.
See, he came to help. He could scream for help. Lenny's a big help.
There was a man walking down the stairs, and I guess he heard me hollering for help. He took off his shoes, took off his jacket, and he jumped in, and he pulled him aside. Oh.
Good thing somebody else came along who can swim.
The sensation of drowning is this, fearful, helpless, you can't touch anything, you can't feel anything type of feeling.
That's a type of feeling? I can't feel nothing type of feeling.
His eyes, they had shut closed, and he was just...
Shut closed?
Just limp, no
only way it's possible.
Reaction, just nothing.
Nothing. Good thing they got somebody else to help.
We were all frantic and hysterical. My auntie was like, well, just keep on saying his name. Keep on saying his name.
Do that.
So we just kept on saying his name, Messiah, Messiah.
Is that his name, really? Because it changes in the middle of this video.
They took over, and I say about a good minute and a half, he started spitting up water. They said they had a small pulse, barely a pulse, but it was there. So, they were rushing him to the hospital.
I heard my phone ringing at home. I got in, I dropped my purse on the floor because I'm running to the cordless phone. I picked the phone up. And
how come she didn't have a cell phone?
My son said,
it's 2003.
Mom, I need you to come back because Dad died.
Dad died?
I dropped the phone, ran to the door, grabbed my purse, and I got in the car. As I got to the
By the way, he looks... Isaiah in later pictures looks
to go
really
to the parking
young.
lot of the hotel.
What is he doing?
I saw
calling
an
Mom?
ambulance whizzing by.
Maybe because Lenny's just
I went
too
into the
hysterical
parking
right
lot,
now.
Messiah's brother was crying. These men don't cry. These three brothers, they don't cry. They're not emotional. So him crying, it scared me.
They're not emotional. He was just getting hysterical. Start the timer. See, this is more style than substance here.
The first thing I saw was me in the hospital bed, in a gown, with no injuries, no IV, nothing like that.
Sounds like a dream.
All of the sheets, the curtains were new. My gown still had creases. It was brand new.
Not exactly an out-of-body experience.
It was almost too perfect. Again, it definitely made me feel like it couldn't be real.
I don't believe it either.
There was no one at the front desk. So I went up the stairs. I could hear her
Messiah's
screaming.
mom. They could have cut this part out and given us a sequential timeline.
Kept saying the same thing over and over, but she was
kind of sort this out. But they're going for the emotional route instead. This is all froth.
Who just keeps her back to me the whole entire time. Doing things, messing with the drapes. I try to reach out to her, and she kind of turns, and she looks over her shoulder at me, and she's like, "Oh, you'll be fine." And I look at her, and she looks just like Samika, but she's like more fair-skinned and lighter-skinned lady, but looks just like her in the face. So I actually thought it was her.
Then that's not an out-of-body experience. Where are the doctors? Where are the nurses? There's a nurse that looks like his girlfriend, except more fair-skinned. And he doesn't have any IVs, no equipment. He's in a perfect, idealized hospital room. And when did he have this? All right, let's say he's not completely full of shit. Maybe some of this is true. They make it sound like it's all happening simultaneously, but he was in a coma for a week, which they neglect to tell us, but it slips out accidentally. At any time he could have had that vision or dream, but they make it sound like it all happened at once. And they edit it together that way, so it seems like it's all happening simultaneously.
We pulled into the emergency room. There was somebody from the emergency room to greet us, and they said, "We have a room for you." They took us back to a room off of the emergency room. His mom just collapsed into a chair, and she said, "My baby, my baby."
Somebody was waiting for them and sent them to a special waiting room. I've never seen that special waiting room in a hospital. In the emergency room, a special one. Someone was waiting. Probably valet parked for them too.
2 doctors and 3 nurses came in, and they said his lungs are filled with chlorine water, which is very bad.
2 doctors and 3 nurses come to explain things to them. It must have been a slow day. They needed 2 doctors and 3 nurses to come give them a message about how things are.
Chlorine is attacking his lungs. His kidneys are failing. We need you to stay here. I couldn't stay.
She couldn't do what they told her.
I needed to see him.
She needed to get in the middle of everything and get in the way.
Having seen the bubbles and feeling like I was, in water or drowning, I felt better because now I was in the situation where it seemed like I was okay, I wasn't hurt, and there was a nurse that looked just like my girlfriend. We exchanged a glance with each other, and the smile, which was very comforting. It's almost like I went up to a blackout again. It's like just complete darkness. Next thing I began to hear voices in this darkness.
He's hearing voices in the darkness while he's in a coma. And he's in a hospital where there's a lot of voices. Plus, he's got mental activity going on, at least some. Couldn't be dreaming, though. This is real.
Just whispers at first. They're just saying stuff like, "It's okay. You're going to be all right. Don't be afraid." It hits me at this point that I'm not dreaming.
He's not dreaming?
It was apparent that I was dead.
It was apparent that he was dead. Apparent. The appearance thereof.
I needed to see him. I just kind of eased out of the room, and I pushed the automatic door button, and Marcus was straight ahead of me.
Marcus? See, suddenly he stops becoming Messiah, except in the captions, and now he's Marcus. Everybody was calling him Messiah, his brother. Everybody was calling him Messiah. All of a sudden they stopped calling him Messiah, and they just call him Marcus.
And then all of a sudden, I heard a nurse say, "Charged clear," and they hit him with that paddle.
The nurse is telling them to use the shock paddles, telling everybody, "Charge clear." Isn't that what a doctor does, not a nurse?
His entire body, it was almost like he levitated. It came up off that bed and fell back down. I felt him leave in my heart. I felt Marcus leave me.
In her heart. Yeah, they're not going strictly the emotional route. I mean, they're trying to... This is so intellectual. Biography channel.
I can hear my aunt, who I lost in a tragic accident with my cousin, my grandmother, people that had passed away, and they're directing me, it's okay, go ahead, go for it, keep moving, it's going to be all right, don't be afraid, to the point where it's almost upsetting, like, why do you guys keep saying this? They're not responding to my, "Are you there's?" "Hello." And as the words become more clear, the voices begin to get louder. I see these two little lights off into the distance. I began to walk towards the lights. I see that it's not actually light, it's actually like two little flames, like two torches.
And then all of a sudden, I heard that beep that you hear on TV.
Like on TV. Sounds like all her details came from a TV program. And now she's on TV. But obviously not enjoying it very much. She's selling it.
And a doctor said, "We lost him. He's gone." And there was people everywhere. It seemed like there were doctors and nurses coming out of the walls.
Nobody had anything better to do. I mean, one guy drowned. How many people does it take? It's not like they're having an operation. Doctors and nurses, it seemed like they were coming out of the wall. This is really interesting. I mean, it seems like the whole world revolves around these folks, doesn't it? And here's the thing. There's three people that you hear from on this video, and you've already heard from them. Marcus the Messiah, his baby mama, and his brother Leonard. None of the EMTs, none of the hotel guests, not the people that saved his life, none of those damn doctors or nurses. Just these three. So let's take their word for it, okay?
I heard somebody say, "Marcus, we need you to keep fighting for us, buddy."
Yeah, Marcus. But the captions say Messiah.
So as I'm getting closer, I begin to see there's like gold coins, goblets, all types of gold items.
Pirate's treasure.
Fear grew with each step that this seems like you're dead, this is death, that's hell.
It seems like you're dead, and this is death, and you're in hell. Where'd you get this? Aren't the streets of heaven paved with gold?
I started to see a figure sitting there, and he's sitting not in a throne, but he's actually sitting in this heap of gold.
Yeah, remember what he just said there. He's not sitting on a throne. He's sitting on this heap of gold, because he's going to contradict himself in just about a minute.
He's enormous, at least 12 feet into the air. Just sitting there with a menacing look on his face, almost like a bull's head, but with a human face. It was really big, deep, like blood red. You know how blood is like almost black, but red.
You know, it's not the way they describe the devil in the Bible as the most beautiful of angels, the son of the morning, the light bringer and all that. It's only during the Middle Ages, you know, when they were having a competition with fertility cults and pan worshippers, you know, where the devil turned into this faun on steroids, mutant faun.
He's really intimidating. He's sitting there, horns that come out and curve. I was terrified. Seeing Satan face to face, I knew I was dead and I was going to hell.
Wait, you saw the devil face to face, and so you knew you were dead and going to hell. If you saw the devil face to face, aren't you already in hell? Get your story straight. I know it's asking a lot.
Done so many things as a kid to try to stay away from trouble. I couldn't understand it at all, but I had to accept the facts as they were. There was no turning back.
He was such a good guy. You know, even Howard Storm could be honest about the fact that he was kind of a shitty person, but he's going to go to heaven anyway.
I've been a rotten person, and I don't know why you touch a piece of filth like me.
Marcus Messiah can't even admit that he's done anything wrong ever. He was just knocked up some gal and then abandoned her and her kid, but she was his primary focus while he's dating other women, and it doesn't seem very big on contraception. Responsible guy.
I'm beginning to no longer ask my grandmother and my auntie what's going on now. I'm convicted.
He's convicted. Interesting choice of words. Maybe he means he has conviction.
Like, is this what you guys want me to do? And they're telling me, yes, it's okay, you're gonna be fine, it's okay. As they're saying these things, he's looking around to see who they're talking to. And I'm 50 yards away, but he's not paying me any attention. I want him to know if this is the way I want to go, I want to go.
The way you want to go.
I want you to know how unhappy I'm going to be about it. So I'm yelling, I'm cussing.
You're cussing out the devil.
Come and get me. And once I get to about 25 feet, Satan, the devil, finally looks directly at me.
And it was no heartbeat. You could still hear that machine, and that machine is atrociously loud. And I don't know, maybe it was just me.
It was.
I could still hear that beep.
Like a TV. That TV beep.
And then they said, they hit him again, and they did it again, and his body raised again and fell down. And somebody jumped on top of him, and they were pushing. And somebody else said, "Come on, Marcus, we need you to wake up."
The whispers kind of begin to die down, and it's just my grandmother again, and she's like, it's gonna be okay, go ahead. He looks and he leans forward, and then he just kind of eases back and kind of sits back into his chair.
Into his chair? I thought he was sitting on a heap of gold, not a throne or a chair. Now he's sitting on a chair. Oops.
As if to say, nah, I'm gonna pass on you for now. And then my grandmother's like, I told you you'll be all right. You don't have to be afraid, it'll be all right. And then I kind of eased into this darkness, into this sleep.
Went deeper into his sleep. You know, here's the thing, little interjection here. You notice how these stories of a guy going to hell and then coming back sells much better than a story of a guy going to paradise, like Lamie Homo and Greaser's Palace.
If you feel, you heal. If you feel, you heal.
Dad, I was swimming in a rainbow with millions of babies, and I was naked. And then all of a sudden, I turned into a perfect smile.
Put a roof on the son of a bitch!
Little example here. Yeah, nobody wants to hear a story about somebody who saw paradise and were reluctant to leave. No, they want to hear about, oh shit, I got a glimpse of hell and you do not want to go there. Although the descriptions are always a little different, aren't they? This is very different than Howard Storm's story. And let's face it, if you have a near-death experience and you don't remember anything, like Clint Walker, you know, the old actor who had plenty of money so didn't need to make up some bullshit. Stories like this are gold, especially if you're crapping out a kid every year and a half and you don't have much money or health insurance. You could sell your story to the Sunday programs, and even the Biography Channel will buy your bullshit. All right, back to the video.
I felt like if I left the hospital, when I came back, he wouldn't be there. When I initially touched him, he was really swollen, and his hand was so cold. He couldn't breathe on his own. His kidneys were failing. His blood pressure was much, much too high. The next 24 hours were going to be very crucial for him. The doctors were saying they wanted to put him in long-term care, that Marcus was not going to wake up, that he couldn't breathe on his own. His mom wanted them to take him off the medicine. She kept saying, take him off the medicine and let him wake up. And they said, well, we did this test. He has to score at least an 8 on this brain function test in order for us to believe that he can wake up. Marcus couldn't score higher than a 4, according to the doctors. Then she said, no, I don't think you understand. You're gonna take him off the medicine, and then I'm gonna ask him, I'm his mother, Marcus is gonna do what I tell him to do.
Yeah, what do fucking doctors know? They only saved his life, but Mama's gonna save his soul.
So they took the medicine off. We all kind of stood around waiting. And then he started moving his eyes. And the doctor said, we need you to ask him to open his eyes. So his mom said, Marcus, you need to open your eyes. Open your eyes. And he just kind of kept moving them, but they didn't open. They just were moving. And she said, open your eyes and look at me now.
I began to hear voices, whispers. And as the voices are fading in, it's my mom. I start to kind of come to and kind of open my eyes a little bit. It's a really blurry light.
And he looked at her and she smiled at him. And the doctors are just like, okay. You know, they had this bewilderment look, like we didn't think he was there. They were very, very surprised.
The day that I woke up, they were going to unplug me from the life support systems. If I hadn't woke up, I would have been a vegetable. They would have had to let me go. My right lung, rather, completely collapsed. For that week.
week.
This side of my body was not functioning without the help of a machine.
So he's been unconscious for a whole week, and they just slipped that little detail in by accident. So in a whole week's time, he's been in a medically induced coma and could have had that dream at any time during that time. But they edit this together to make it sound like it's all happening on that first day when he comes into the hospital. Very fishy. And again, he's from Minnesota and can't swim, so anything's possible.
I look at the scars from my arm and the scar from the catheter in my head.
I'll see it.
They're all reminders every day that medically it's a miracle, a medical miracle.
A medical miracle. It's a miracle those doctors were able to do their job. See, if he died, it'd have been the doctor's fault. But if he lives, it's a miracle. It's supernatural.
I didn't want to scare her, but I just couldn't hold it in as far as what I saw. And I say, so, are you ready to be a mom?
She already is one, dickhead. She's got Isaiah, your kid, the one that you've been neglecting while you're off dating other women.
She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you're pregnant with my kid. She was like, how do you know that?
How do you not know that? I mean, why is he going to Minnesota all of a sudden when he just got to Detroit a short time ago? Why the sudden trip back? This is fishy. They're not telling the truth here. How does it that she doesn't know she's 3 months pregnant?
I was like, well, I seen a lady that looked just like you.
In a dream?
It couldn't be anybody but your kid. I tell Tamika that the nurse I saw in the hospital room, realizing that I was dead, was my daughter.
Which one? You end up with 2 daughters. And how do we know either one of them is going to become a nurse? I guess they better.
I do remember thinking, Lord have mercy, he has lost his mind. He's fruity in the loops.
He's fruity in the loops. That ought to catch on.
But he asked me again, do you know if you're pregnant? So I said, okay. I said, no, I don't know.
Bullshit. You don't know you're pregnant. 3 months along pregnant.
One of the nurses said, well, I'll just ease you a pregnancy test. And I went and took it, and yeah, I was pregnant.
Bullshit again. All right, she's in the hospital to visit her boyfriend who's just come out of a coma. He tells her that he had a dream where she's in it, but fairer skin, so it's got to be her daughter. And she's pregnant and going to have a kid in 6 months. Well, he didn't mention that part. And she doesn't know she's pregnant, and some nurse is like, well, even though you don't have an appointment for yourself, I'll just slip you a little pregnancy test and you can get your results immediately. Boy, I'll tell you, this hospital staff, they're so accommodating, aren't they, to these folks?
So she comes back into the room and she was like, how in the world did you know that? I knew for sure, and I was like, you're pregnant, you're going to have this person. I saw something that was in the future.
So, not only is he a messiah, Marcus is a prophet. And he's definitely going to profit from this documentary, I'm sure. Like I said, if you have a near-death experience and you don't have a story, you better make one up, because you can't sell it otherwise.
Maybe not even a half hour out of my coma, I proposed to her. She said yes. She said yes.
Actually, she probably said, it's about fucking time, you goddamn deadbeat. I'm having another kid by you. Stop dating other women. It's fucking wear a rubber, for God's sake. Have some responsibility, Mr. Bareback Rider.
I was the happiest fresh out of a coma man ever.
As far as you know. Yeah, he's finally got to settle down and stop. Yeah, he just had to put his feet to the fire to make him do the right thing, huh? But he's a decent guy already. Just ask him.
3 months later, we got married. Then 3 months after that, Mary was born.
Okay, 3 months after his coma, they get married. And 3 months after they get married, they have Mary, their baby. So either this baby's a miracle or extremely premature. Yeah, they didn't know. They didn't know.
And then 10 months after that, Mira was born.
I believe it pushed him towards being the man I always saw. He is so wonderful as a father. I think that's the thing that I've always loved him, but I think that's the thing that it just makes me love him so much.
She knew he'd become the man she always hoped he would be.
Always had a belief that nobody's too good to go to hell.
He always believed that nobody's too good to go to hell.
If your good is good, you'll be fine. If your good is good, you'll be fine. You've done enough. If you really believe that, step out on faith. Face him. The voices, they were telling me, if you really truly believe that, then you should go. You should move forward, not be afraid. When I look back, I think that was the lesson they wanted me to learn.
Learn to fucking swim.
Do all the things that I dreamed of doing and just not giving up on it. That's what my life is about today. Going to work, going to my family, and just being thankful, having faith in what tomorrow might bring. You never know what tomorrow could bring. It's just beautiful.
Like a residual check from the biography channel. Well, as you can see, I'm just a buzz killer here, trying to ruin their perfectly good, near-death experience story. But I think they might have had something, he might have drowned. That was a really stupid story, but maybe he did drown like that. And maybe his heart stopped twice, and maybe he was in a medically induced coma, and maybe all that. Maybe, maybe not. Who could say? We got 3 people, the Holy Trinity, and their story is definitely full of holes. So let me know what you think. Did you find this convincing? Or are you kind of in my camp and think this sounds like a crock of shit? Chime in. Let me know if this changed your life. Peace the fuck out. Have a wonderful whatever the fuck it is you're having, and stay tuned.
Dad, I was swimming in a rainbow with millions of babies, and they was naked. And then all of a sudden, I turned into a perfect smile. Just like last time. Dad, I don't want to die anymore.
Then behave yourself.